Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I'd like to apologize for the late start. My boss, Honorable Eugene Nangwe, will do the best for all of us. Once again, this is the most major press briefing on COVID-19 until today, with the privilege at this hour to have in our midst the Honorable Eugene Nangwe, Minister of Information, who will speak first. The Honorable Dr. Micat, Minister of Health, who will speak second. The Honorable Dr. Asuka Fala, Acting Director General, ANFIL, that is the National Public Health Institute, the Republic of Liberia. We have the honor and pleasure to have with us the Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Samuel D. Twer, who will speak after the Honorable Dr. Asuka Fala speaks. And then we will have the WHO, Dr. Clement Peters, who will make remarks. And then we will close up with the Chief Medical Officer of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. Francis Kete. Without much ado, ladies and gentlemen of the media, brace yourself. All the members of organizations here present, our partners, officials of government here present that we did not recognize. As we go through the press conference, because of time, we will give you the due recognition that is to be accorded. Without much ado, I will invite to the podium the Honorable Minister of Information, Honorable Eugene Nangwe. Honorable Nangwe.
Let me begin by extending deepest apologies on behalf of all of the officials of government here to the media for your great patience and resilience. You are resilient, patient, and like I always say, we cannot have an effective Liberia without an effective media. And you exemplify that today by staying here since 11 a.m. We are pushing 7. Apologies are actually insufficient. So, but please bear with us. We did not keep you here because we are tired, but because of the seriousness of this situation, the President of the Republic of Liberia convened an emergency meeting of the Special Presidential Committee on Corona. So we too had a marathon meeting since before midday. By 11:30 we have assembled, and we were privileged to have had in our midst the head of WHO here in Liberia, Dr. Peter Clement, who participated very actively in the meeting, and also the country director of the Center for Disease Control, the CDC of the United States, Dr. Denise Allen. The President convened the meeting due to the seriousness of the situation we have in our country right now, to bring all of the pieces together, because this is an effort of many agencies and partners and groups and communities. So the convening of this meeting was for us to review our response efforts so far, to strengthen the efforts to build our resilient matrix further, and therefore it was a very long meeting, a marathon, since 11:30. I want to use this opportunity also to welcome to this press briefing an array of government officials, including my distinguished colleague, the Minister of Health, Dr. Jala, the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Mr. Samuel Twer, the head of the National Disaster Management Agency, Mr. Williams, the Minister of Gender and Social Protection, Wilhelmina Biso Sedita, the Chief Medical Officer of the Republic, Dr. Francis Kate. We also have in our midst the head of WHO, Dr. Peter Clement, and the acting head of the CDC here in Liberia, Dr. Dennis Allen. I see other officials, including the head of the National Public Health Institute, Dr. Masuka Farah, very strong soldier in the fight against Corona. I see the press secretary to the president. So with Kevin, we have the Director General of the Liberian News Agency. Kwame Weeks, my able deputy, Eugene Fagon, was right here, so you saw him. And then Waka Fofana, who's the Deputy Minister for Technical Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. The Deputy Minister of Health is also with us, Noel Howard. We are pleased to have her here. She has been one of the strong soldiers leading the logistics efforts. I want to begin by giving you a brief account of some of the very critical decisions that we reached today at the meeting of the Special Presidential Advisory Committee on Corona. The President has mandated that all officials of government, particularly, and all Liberians generally, and our foreign partners and residents are to comply 100% with all of the health protocols that have been laid out. Any official of government who will breach even 1 inch of the health protocol will be arrested and dismissed by the president. Any official, there are no sacred cows regarding the health protocol. The president also mandated the national security apparatus not to flout any inch of the protocols. You arrive at the airport or at any border post, you submit yourself and cooperate very fully. We don't want any leakage in our system. So the mandate has been given to the security apparatus to use the necessary means to ensure compliance. At the meeting today were all the heads of the security apparatus along with our health team led by Minister Jala and Dr. Fala. The heads of all of the agencies, the police, the EPS, the Liberia Immigration Service, the Army, the Minister of Defense were all present, and the President has given this mandate. Nobody is above the law. In addition, we have reinforced a previous presidential mandate that upon entry to the airport and other posts, there will be no VIP treatment. All officials of government are to follow the normal routine. There will be no access by officials to and from the VIP lounge, barring the President, the Vice President, the Chief Justice, the Speaker, and the Pro Tem. All other officials of government are to use the normal route in and out of the airport. Again, the health officials and the security apparatus are being mandated, are being directed, instructed to enforce this presidential directive. The President and the government of Liberia recognize that this coronavirus has a potential of derailing all of our efforts that we've been making. to advance the country. It's deadly, it's serious, and it has a potential of taking away the lives of our people. Having suffered previously from years of war, from Ebola, and now this disease. So we leave no stone unturned. Later, Dr. Jala will speak and give some of the updates on our preparedness. Dr. Asuka Fala will give updates. We'll be having a lot of good news, but he's best placed to tell you about some of the good news. We are pleased with the good news, but we are not complacent. We have to remain resilient. We have comments from the head of the World Health Organization's office here in Liberia. The resident representative will also make some comments. The Minister of Finance will be speaking because this effort has a lot of requirements, with health, with requirements to finance. So Minister Tuer will be speaking about the measures that the government has taken, the steps to ensure that the anti-corona fight is well financed, and therefore show to the public that we are all well prepared. I want to conclude my introductory remarks by conveying to you, members of the press, the last comment the President made. He said, tell the members of the media, thanks for waiting, but also to ask for your support in this fight. Without the media, we cannot win the fight against the coronavirus. So we seek your support, your cooperation, and your partnership. So we are extending a hand of cooperation to the media to work with us so that we can inform our people adequately. I want to make a brief comment about how comments by public officials will affect the fight against the virus. It will be unfortunate if we, officials of government, put our citizens at risk because of politics. The government will not hesitate to utilize the relevant provisions of the law to ensure that nobody, particularly officials of government, whichever branch you are in, will misinform the public and cause people to die because of the misinformation. The public health law and other laws of Liberia are very clear. The universally accepted practice of hygiene, washing hands. If any official of government, even if you're crazy, come and defy convention, give misinformation and disinformation, the long arm of the law will catch you. Whether you're a minister, a legislator, whomever. So, speaking foolishness is not free anymore. There will be consequences for foolish statements in keeping with law. Don't wash your hands. Don't listen to crazy people. Citizens of Liberia, residents, please wash your hands. Follow the health protocols. Maintain social distance. Follow all of the advice of the experts. Listen to Dr. Jala. Listen to the World Health Organization. Dr. Clement, listen to him. Listen to Dr. Ali from the Center for Disease and Control. Listen to people who have sense and who are trained. Don't listen to crazy people. Wash your hand. Follow the protocol. Politics will not go away. This virus is above politics. So for small-minded people who want to preach politics in the midst of this calamity, don't listen to them. But we'll go a step further. Today we decided that anybody that gives deliberate misinformation and disinformation will feel the full weight of the law, whichever branch of government you are in. Nobody is above the law. The virus knows no VIP. It knows no government official. In fact, the evidence is that the virus has been spread by people at the top tier. Nobody came from West Point to spread the virus. Nobody came from Suniwe or from Bokandile. Some people didn't even see our airplane low before. Now, their lives are being affected because of people like us. So it is VIPs like us that should be even more responsible. So no free talk again. And I dare that individual to come back on radio and TV and give any misinformation. We'll grab you and we'll punish you and keep you with law. It's dangerous to make these statements just because you think you can talk in a silly manner and people will listen to you. And to you, the media, don't encourage crazy people to talk on your radio. Let them do their craziness in a different place. Because if you give a platform of such to somebody, knowing full well that what he's saying is total rubbish, or because he's a member of the legislature, so what? So you deceive our people? No, it will stop. So, I mean, somebody can go in, if you say that sin again, we grab him and put him in jail and take him to court, persecute him under the law. No more. We are not here to joke with this. Our country can be decimated. The fabric of our society can be decimated by this. We saw what Ebola did. We should know it better. The end of our country. So politics will come. There's an election pending. You can do your politics later. But no politics with Corona. Thanks a lot.
The Minister of Health, Honorable Micat, who will address the press.
Good evening to all and to the public out there that's listening. First of all, let's say thanks to our President George Weah, for taking the lead in this fight against the coronavirus. I would also like to thank all of the 9 ministries that have been right at the health ministry side, putting things together to make sure that we are fighting the coronavirus. Most importantly, I want to thank all of the healthcare workers from both MOH and Enfield that have begun the fight with us as we go around the country to get all of the involvement of all of the rest of the healthcare workers to make sure that we are all united and all of us are on one platform to begin to do the work that is ahead of us. Also, I would like to thank our national and international partners because a lot of goodwill will have come from within the country. People are buying buckets, they are buying water, and our international partners are providing other things for us. So we want to tell them thank you so far for coming to our aid and joining us in this fight against corona. Because if you are in Liberia, whatever affects Liberia, it will affect you because you are here with us. So we want to say thank you. In time to come, and as we continue this fight, there will be many regulations and advice that will be coming to the public. So we are hoping that the public will take these advices seriously. Some of the things that we want to continue to advise you all on is the hand washing. Hand washing is not only for corona. So many things can be prevented while your hands are clean. Diarrhea diseases, other diseases can be prevented. So please continue to wash your hands. We are looking now to look for buckets to bring to those who can afford buckets so that you can continue to wash your hands. We want to advise you on the sneezing. If you have a cold or you're sneezing, please sneeze in a napkin or tissue or in your sleeves. Do not sneeze on your hands If you do, you must get to a bucket and wash your hands immediately. But we advise you not to sneeze in your hand. Definitely no handshaking. Because if you sneeze and your hands are not clean and you shake somebody else's hand, the virus will be transferred to that person. That person will touch their face and it will become infected. So we want to continue to advise you on that. Also, social distancing. Maybe a lot of people don't know what social distancing means. But we want to advise, this morning I was walking by the bank and I saw the people outside were right on top of each other in a line. So we want to advise you that even when you're standing in a line outside, give at least an arm length or more to the person in front of you. Even if you go inside the bank, do the same thing, because it will help you to protect you. We also want to send that out to supermarkets, to banks, to marketplaces, to clubs, to even funerals, that you can keep the same distance. Even if at a funeral you can get to go packages, it will be better than everybody sitting together and drinking or eating whatever we're doing at the funeral. But we want to continue to advise the general public to continue to listen to the health advice from those of us who will be speaking to the public. Most of all, if you see a certificate online or anywhere that says somebody is free from a disease, if you don't see Dr. Fala, Dr. Kete, and my signature on that document is not authentic. Because the World Health Organization or somebody higher will not come to Liberia to sign our certificate. We, the health expert here, will be the one signing the certificate for this country. So please, if you have it on your Facebook page or wherever you have it, just delete it from there, because that information is false. Also, if somebody says Dr. Jala said and you didn't hear me directly, please call me and ask me if I said it before you carry it as information to the general public. Because we do not want to mislead the public. We want the public to continue to trust what we say and do the right thing. Because in any disease situation, pandemic, you need to trust your healthcare advisors and listen to the information that they are telling you, so that we can prevent the spread of the condition. So we want to thank all of the Liberian people who are listening and continue to listen and do the right thing. Hopefully, this information is reaching all of the counties. Monserrato County is in response, but the rest of the counties are in alert, and we will make sure that we reach to them so that they too cannot go in response. I want to thank the media and all of you here for coming this evening to spread the correct word to our people in keeping Liberia safe from the spread of coronavirus. Thank you.
We'll now call Dr. Masuka Fala, Acting Director General for the National Public Health Institute of Liberia. While he's making his way up here, we'd like to remind you that updates will be given on Monday at 11:30 at this podium, and on Thursdays at 11:30 at this very podium. Thank you.
Minister of Information, Minister of Health, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Kete, all of the high table, Mr. Piso, Deputy Minister for Administration. Our partners, we want to thank His Excellency Dr. Joy Manobuya for high level support the company has made all the time. We see that there's a lot of multi-sectoral collaboration across all agencies. And that has led us to be able to make the stride that we've made in our preparedness. As you know, we started preparedness some several weeks ago, to be precise, January 21st. And On Monday, the president announced that we had our first case of coronavirus, taking us into response phase. That we do some time ago, we were at the highest level of alert level number 3. Once we started to detect that there were cases in the sub-region. So where are we now since we confirmed the case? In every surveillance, the first and the photo for the 8 hours are very crucial. If you are able to identify the contacts, essentially you can break a transmission. Let's begin by the cases for their hour appearance and how are they doing. We do know that the index case is 0, coming from Switzerland and became sick. As usual required, we took the specimen, and because we had a capacity to test in the country, early the next morning, 4 a.m., the results came back positive, and he was taken to a treatment center. He's doing very well in status. The next important thing to happen was to determine all of his contact and risk categorize his contact. We realized quickly that there were 24 high-risk contacts. I will stop at this juncture to really thank the various communities and members of the communities that gave us step up as we expand our net. Overall, we have had 144 contacts within the last 48 hours. 21 of the serious contacts were taken to isolation, which is one of the best ways to manage coronavirus, given the fact that we know that it can sometimes be spread asymptomatically, and the fact that it is a respiratory tract disease. The goal was to isolate all of these contacts into institutions so that in the event that they are sharing the virus, the rest of the population can be protected. And so 21 of those contacts were taken, and specimen was known from the medium close contact. One of the contacts of the 5 initial contacts, one of them came positive. Became the second case. That case was immediately isolated to the treatment center at the 14 military hospital. As we speak, both of them are doing very well. We speak multiple times a day with the practice in this case. And we also took 21 of the close contacts, the high-risk contact. Yesterday, we were able to test 17 of those contacts. The result came later in the night. 16 of those contacts result came as negative. One of them as indeterminate, and we are repeating the test. In order to protect the population, we decided to move high-risk contact to a secure environment at the military hospital and do the blood draw in those communities. We are about to move the 4 other contacts into the military hospital. But meanwhile, with cooperation from our multi-agency, including the police, we were able to use CCTV to be able to track some of the other contacts, and those contacts and the businesses were very cooperative, and the blood was drawn. And so we continue to expand the list as we have the second contact. The second case, we are now trying to get more and more contacts, and we continue to encourage the public to come forward with more and more information. With respect to we say, while we are responding, we say continue to maintain our preventive measure. When we saw this breach in this system at the airport has given more impetus, and His Excellency today created a double system to ensure that just in case a system is broken, there will be help, immigration, grade, and the like. We're going to intensify the observation at the airport. The order we have given all of the airlines that when the airline lands, only 5 persons will eat plane at a time. Those 5 persons will walk and be screened, analyzed before additional 5 came up. When we were there on Sunday, Denise and I trying to do dry run. One of the things we quickly realized was at times multiple people come rushing at the fire screening station. And so those were the things that were not instituted. We continue to see more contact. As of last night, we are running 7 precautionary observation centers as we create stringent measures for those who are eligible for quarantine. That will continue, and we will have our 6th advisory out either tonight or tomorrow, to further increase stringent measures to reduce those that will come. Because our greater risks, while we try to continue this outbreak, will be an imported case. And so that will mean that we introduce stringent measures. We know people complain about our quarantine center, but our quarantine center were not meant to be disciplined, they were meant to serve as a deterrent. We'll continue to ask our travelers, the various airlines, please stay where you are, and those who are in the country, we want to advise them that basically they should not travel now to this country. Where are we now with our response? We're going to maintain our incident management system, we're going to respond move. Today, as we said, the President launched the sparkle, and that will continue. Our various partners and institutions will work together more closely and harmoniously as the President gave us his marching order. We invoke the public health law. We take all of those who are giving us helpful information. We are going to provide the public, but we really want to front on those who are trying to mislead the public. This is a disease that is bringing great nations to their needs. This is a disease that has the Vice President of the US on the advisory committee. That is how serious it is. So for once in our life, let's lay down our differences and let's concentrate on a common enemy. This is an enemy that has a propensity to derail this process and affect other people. But like we are saying, as a community to support us and give us information. If we continue at this rate, we are going to defeat this enemy. We are very convinced that we have a competent staff. There is collaboration among the agency, under the leadership of the Minister of Health, the National Disaster Management Agency, coordinating the Bureau, institutions of government will welcome, will prevail. Thank you very much.
Given the severity of the pandemic, we wish to announce that updates will be given from this podium on Mondays and Thursdays at 11:30 a.m. With that said, I'd like to invite up to the podium the Minister of Finance, Honorable Samuel D. Twer, who will address the media.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, let me join my esteemed colleagues for extending thanks for your patience here today. It's been worthwhile, the wait. As the Minister of Information said, you have probably the biggest role in all of this. It is you who can spread the positive messages or reinforce the positive messages about this for our people. And it is you also who can contaminate or help to contaminate that. I believe you are patriots. You will take the patriotic road. And so that's why we are very happy that you're here today. I'd like to use this opportunity to thank the President for his far-sightedness and his leadership. He set up a team, as Mr. Dr. Fowler said, in January to look at preemptively and preventively, long before Africa started becoming on the flashboard. The President was far-sighted in establishing this team, and we began quarantining people. The Ministry of Health leadership began quarantining people a long time. I was in Abidjan, I think, 6 days ago, or 5 days. I just returned from Abidjan, and I read President Ouattara going on a quarantine policy, something that Liberia started like almost 2 months now. So we have to give props to the Ministry of Health team. We have to give props to the government for taking this proactive measure. Big thanks to Dr. Jala and her team, to Sukafala, they worked overtime. Big thanks to the Army, to the police, and all of the other members. Big thanks to the information family. Extraordinary coordination has happened in this situation. Of course, we're benefiting from the lessons of Ebola. And I think we have structures in place, so we're activating now. But I think the country has done well. The argument that there was a breach in the protocol means, first of all, there was a protocol, because if there were not a protocol, there would be no breach. So to breach something means a wall has to be standing, and then you can find a way to breach it. So you first have to commend the fact that the wall was there, then so we should not focus on a break. All right, we should focus on the larger picture that the country has proactively acted to prevent this, and is scaling up now. Now that, as the doctor said, the experts have said, we appear to have moved from the what is called preparedness, and now we're moving to the response phase. You see aggressive scaling up and the mobilization of all government resources. Let me thank all of our development partners who have generously supported this effort. Thank the World Bank. The World Bank, as we speak, the World Bank is making available quite soon about 1.5 million that is available now. So it's actually 7.5 million total, but the immediate amount that is available that does not require the Minister of Finance and the bank manager to do anything right now, and we're working on that, is 1.5. So that pre-approval is already there. Actually, when we leave here, we're going straight to the World Bank's office. The country manager, who is another champion of this country, has left his home and is waiting for the government here to go at the World Bank office, where we can really look into some of these funding issues, especially the disbursement of the first 1.5. After that, we'll look at, I think, an additional 6 million or so that should come based on what is called a contingency, some clearance that we have to do. But the immediate money, 1.5, is available, and then the other 6 million will be available in the coming days. Then there's another 7.5 million from the World Bank that will be rapid, from a contingent rapid commitment. It's called the Contingency Emergency Response Commitment. So technically, you can say the World Bank is bringing 15 million, and that's on the World Bank side. So we're looking to activate all of those funding. So thank you, our partner. We're looking for, the bank is quite willing to do more. We are quite aware that the International Monetary Fund globally has made about $50 billion available for countries. I was speaking with a high-level official of the fund last night, and I was told that some countries have already began to make requests. Just this afternoon, I read the response from Micat, who is the IMF Liberia mission chief, and the message was positive. She was concerned that this situation could further derail Liberia's economy, given that we are moving from a recession. We're trying to get back on track through an IMF program, and so they're expressing serious concern, and she pledged her strongest commitment to ensure that Liberia is able to access IMF resources to stabilize the economy so that we don't get back, where we were quite several months or years ago. So we have that strong commitment from the mission chief. We're going to be working with the IMF representative Jeff here. Actually, there's a video conference plan. We should have had our first mission. The mission should have come from Washington to come here, but because of the situation, they're no longer able. So we communicate now through video, where we do the whole IMF first mission view of the program through video, and then she showed me that one of the possible ways in these emergencies, the IMF has many ways to release money to the country. One of the fastest dispersal ways in an emergency like this is to use a rapid disbursement facility. So she did say that we'll be talking about that in the video conference and looking at the whole economic recovery plan that countries are expected to develop and submit to the IMF. So you can clearly see that both the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund are way ahead of the curve in trying to help countries to deal with this situation. So we're very happy we have strong partners. We also have a lot of embassies. All the embassies accredited here. Met the president at the first SPACOP meeting at the Executive Mansion, and they promised, in addition to what the World Bank is doing, what the IMF is doing, because their primary support comes through these multilateral entities, that they would be looking to fill in gaps where they are. The United States Embassy was quite generous. We had already the students, but other than said the European Union are looking for ways in which to complement what the IMF and the World Bank are doing for the country. So we're quite happy that we have very strong, very good partners of Liberia and the Liberian people. These people have seen how wars have devastated us, how the Ebola epidemic killed a lot of people here and devastated our economy. They are hard pressed to ensure that this doesn't recur, that people don't suffer anymore from these kinds of disease situations. So we have one of the strongest partnerships we've ever had, with all our international partners. So I think from the government side, we've been able to provide to date $500,000 to the effort. $500,000 to the effort. We're looking also, before we get these commitments from the fund and the bank, we're also looking for providing additional resources to the team. So the real question is, there's a whole pipeline of resources available. I think from our standpoint, the Ministry of Finance, so what we're doing, is to ensure a full transparency. We want to assure the public and the international partners of the quality of transparency benefiting from what happened in the Ebola situation, full transparency and credibility of reporting and accountability in the use of monies from our development partners, monies in the budget. And so you're going to see measures, we're going to announce measures in place to see how expenditure is happening and report to the public systematically on what kind of areas monies are going to, how people are accessing these monies. I think so. This is where the media is also going to be critical as well. I can't wait to re-echo the comments made by my colleagues earlier about the need to take all of our preventive measures. You know, one of the things we want to say is that this is serious, but we are on top of our game. All right. We have 2 cases, as you've heard, and I think I personally spoke with Mr. Blama 2 days ago, and he said he wasn't feeling any symptoms. He was quite okay. So. He said he was quite okay, and so I'm confident that he will recover, and we're looking to see how we can work so that we don't have any more positive cases. So that means the ramp up that the Minister of Information talked about in terms of aggressive enforcement at the major port of entry, which is the airport, the RIA. All government officials I came from Abidjan. I went through everything myself. It was quite a rigorous process. So it's kind of difficult to see how a minister can railroad through that process. I filled out my medical form myself. I filled out the immigration form. I was asked tough questions by the health persons, and I also engaged them to see how would they know if I had gone to Europe, and how would they determine that. We discussed that lengthily, and I along with the Minister of Foreign Affairs came together. And we're quite impressed with the screening and the questioning that was happening at the port, even with the immigration. So we believe that there's been a rationing up of reinforcement at the port. With the President now approval of any government minister that tries to break through to be dismissed or face administrative measures, I think we're going to see a full respect of all of the protocols and with the coordination that is happening with the police and the army, the scaling up of the incident management team. I think the country is well ahead and to ensure we contain this pandemic, and it doesn't become a pandemic here. We just have 2 positive cases. We just want to say, wash hands, don't touch surfaces, but let's not panic. I think the key message also is that we should not panic, because we should not do any more than the disease will do to our economy. That's the main point. I mean, we're recovering from a very difficult situation. We don't have the level of resources that developed countries have to do some of the fiscal measures and the stimulus that you see. Yesterday, I signed the $40 million budget support from the World Bank. That money was not about coronavirus. Let's be clear. I've seen conversations on Facebook, social media. I'd say this money was intended for coronavirus. Some people still know the facts, but they still deliberately just continue to stop. I just don't understand. I mean, when we were in school and university, we never behaved like that. When we saw the facts, we play around the facts. But now, even you say the facts, people still say the non-fact. So it's a very difficult time to communicate. But let the word go forth. And that $40 million is part of our national budget. This money is supposed to support the budget for difficult economic times. Anytime the country faces an economic shock, you need a budget support, because it can have, that economy or recession can have impact on revenue intake. And so you need something to show up revenue that's coming in. If the revenue falls, then the budget support will come instead to say, okay, you can pay salary, you can pay, buy gas, do drugs, do basic services in the budget. Of course, that doesn't say that you don't use some of that money for coronavirus. That's not to say that, because it's part of the budget. But it's not principally to say that, oh, okay, $40 million has come from it. So the corona money, as I've said, is $15 million, and it's coming through what the bank is calling a reducing project and the fast disbursement activity. And the other money that we're going to do for economic recovery through the IMF, those are the kind of reasons that will be coming because of the coronavirus. So I just hope those clarifications will suffice, and that the debate about these things will be around the facts and this kind of substantive information, and not about propaganda or lies or so. So I just want to stop there. Thank you very much.
I'd like to, on behalf of the Minister, express our thanks and appreciation to the ELBC family and all those that are carrying out a simulcast right now to our people. We'd like to recognize Fabric 101. We'd like to recognize Freedom FM, Truth FM, Capital FM, D15 Radio, 90.1 FM, and Prime FM. We want to expressly say thank you to you for the simulcast, and we're in this together. We also like to announce that the NTA bus will be ready at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning to bus you over here for the updates on Thursdays and Mondays at 11:30 a.m. Without much ado, we also like to inform our 5 speakers to please have your pen and pad ready. We will take a few questions, and from that point, so we'll call on our next 2 speakers. For this point, at this point right now, we're going to call on the WHO head, Dr. Peters, to please come forward.
Stand on the existing protocols. Distinguished members of the media, fellow listeners, good evening. It is encouraging to be part of this press briefing, which brings together the government and the partners and shows the strong partnership that is required to fight this coronavirus. I'm sure as members of the press, we know the situation globally. Today we have over 200,000 cases reported, over 7,700 deaths ever reported. Close to 161 countries globally affected. In Africa, almost 32 countries have reported this. But one fact is important. Response to the pandemic requires the facts. We must be guided by the science. We must be guided by best practices. I congratulate the government and the people of this country for the leadership in making sure that there is coordinated whole of government response, and that is what is required in this situation. This response comes on the heels of the resilience that the Liberian people had during the fight of Ebola. However, this is not Ebola. This is a new virus we're fighting. The mortality in Ebola was more than 50%. The Ebola was localized to a few countries. Today we are dealing with a pandemic affecting the whole world. All the continents are affected. However, it also has some positive things to mention, which is very important to our daily affairs. One, over 80% of people who have coronavirus always they recover. 40% have mild symptoms they will not even know. Additional 40% may require some medication, but it resolves quickly. We have 20% that requires more medical care. And most of these people are the older people. Most of these people are people with other underlying medical problems. It could be high blood pressure, it could be cancer, it could be issues to do with their kidneys. And when you look globally, that is the type, the category of people who die, and only constitute nearly 4% of all those who are affected. That is the positive news about coronavirus. The sad news is that we need to be extra cautious because it is both droplets and airborne. It tends to concentrate around our mouths, our nose, our eyes. When someone sneezes today on this platform here, the virus can stay at least for more than 2 hours, depending on the condition. And knowing you put your hands here and you get it, you shake someone's hands, and that person gets it. That's why we
we need to be extra cautious. It reminds us of the principle that we all know, the principles of hygiene, which we should be practicing. By simply washing, we get rid of the virus. And therefore, it means it's a disease that we can defeat and defeat quickly. The second thing is that the space between our own response and ensuring we don't get serious outbreak is a very short time, a window of 14 days. So when the Ministry of Health ensures everyone who is exposed are actually reached out, because we need to interrupt the transmission. And this resonates very well with the global strategy to control. We need to limit human-to-human transmission. If the suspected case, we need to identify them early. We need to confirm that we are dealing with the coronavirus. We need to treat early. And the third element, which is very critical, and I'm happy that the media is here, the misinformation is critical. Miscommunication, misinformation is critical. The biggest fear today is because we give the public wrong information. We don't check those facts. People have their own understanding about the disease without real facts. There's element of stigma, the element of ignorance. I think we went through that when we had Ebola 2014 and 2016. And those were immediately averted. And I do believe that your presence here and your network, you are a partner, a key partner to the response by giving the right message from the Ministry of Health. Ensuring everyone practice the preventive measures. If we do, then we are safe in a very short time. And this will be the journey we take. We take together. Response to any public health threat, including pandemic like this, is everyone's business. It's not only the government. It's the government, the partners, the private sector, the individual, because every action we make makes a difference. The disease comes through one person and becomes worldwide. And therefore, if all of us are doing our efforts one by one and collectively, this coronavirus will be easy in the next 1 weeks. And that should be the aim. That should be the message that every member of the community in this country should get the right message from you, from the Ministry of Health, so that they can prevent themselves. They should know what this disease we are dealing with and how you can prevent yourself or prevent ourselves is really key. Let me thank you for the patience of being here. Let me thank the health workers who are outside there and the people, authorities who are working the force of entry to ensure that everyone entering this country is screened for their own benefit and for the benefit of this country. This is a collective responsibility because of global solidarity, and we as partners are here to support work with the government and every individual in this country to make the country coronavirus free. Thank you very much.
We will now invite our last speaker, Chief Medical Officer of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. Keze. And as he makes his way to the podium, we'll ask the other 4 speakers to get ready for question and answers. It will be a few. Thank you.
I have been waiting also because they really wanted to know what the ministry, the government has to say. I think you have all been here and you've listened to the previous speakers. The minister gives a synopsis of the actual role the ministry is going to play in terms of how we deal with this. Dr. Musoka Fowler came over here and gave us the statistics of what has transpired since we announced the first case and the way forward. It was so good to hear the finance minister breaking it down for us, because it doesn't matter what we do as people, as health workers. What is more critical? You can have the best brain, you can have the best capacity, but when the resources are not there, you are being tied down. And so we are very grateful that the finance minister just announced the assistance that's going to come so that together we can all fight this disease. But most importantly, Dr. Clement has given a synopsis of what is happening outside the world, but then he broke that down based on the resiliency that we all exhibited during the fight to stop Ebola in this country. And because we did that, we know that you all working along with us, we can do it again in the shortest possible time. So where are we now? For my part, this is to inform you that we have to do multitasking. So while it's true that we are fighting COVID-19, routine health services has to continue. And so we want to say a big thank you to all those health workers that are out there, that are working diligently, that are committed to making sure that the lives of Liberians are safe. We want to make this very, very clear, because there are people, and we hear these things, and these speculations also have the propensity to change the interpretation of how things are done. So, as it stands, there is no test that is done on anyone that disembarks an airline in this country. So we do no testing there. What we do is that we do a screening, but there is not a test that is done there to confirm whether a person has COVID-19 or not. So let me get that very clear to the general public. In terms of what we're doing with health services, personally, we have the CMS manager here. We are about to carry on the distribution of our medical supplies to the various counties, and they are working on that so that as we fight this disease, we know that there are routine services that have to continue, and so that is ongoing. We also want to express our thanks and appreciation to all the county health officers. We informed them. So we informed them of the fact that the alert is on and they understand what the local IMS structure is. We anticipate that they begin implementation of the system, building the preparation so that whenever, which we do not anticipate to happen, but if for any reason, we'll all be prepared to make sure that our people are safe. We want to thank the Pedal League that is under the medical planning and response at the IMS. The Pedal League, we want to say a big thank you to them for their commitment and their dedication. But we want to also send a special thanks and appreciation to Dr. Moses Masipoy and Dr. Soka Moses that have joined the case management team so that we can beef up the management of our brothers that are personally undergoing treatment. We also want to say a big thank you to the Redemption Institute team that is there to provide the kind of care that is needed for our patients. And we also want to inform our colleagues, that is the doctors out there and so forth, that yes, we are all part and parcel of this response. And because of that, tomorrow at 12 o'clock in my office, I'm sending this out that I want to meet the leadership of the Liberian Medical and Dental Association, the leadership of LMDC, and the county health officer of Mosurado County at my office at 12 o'clock. The meeting is going to start exactly 12 o'clock because it's going to be maximum 1 hour. We have a 2 o'clock meeting that is very, very critical. So I need to have that meeting. So please come and be on time. Again, we want to say a big thank you to everyone for your participation, and as we all work towards making sure that we immediately contain this virus in Liberia, our lines are open to every one of you. Please call us, verify, re-verify before you put out a message, because you can be the one to change the dynamics of how we treat this disease, and you can be the one to make it positive or negative based on the kind of information you're going to send out there. So we want to appreciate you for your patience, work along with us, and together we can make it. Thank you all so much.
Our speakers to attend. So if you have a question, we're not taking more than 6 questions per se. I know you have a lot of questions, but we have the briefings here on Mondays and on Thursdays.
Questions for the Ministry of Health in the field. Firstly, some of the people in quarantine at the 14 Military Hospital, I complained that they are just kept there without any medication. What do you have to say about that? And there are also allegations of lack of PPEs for health workers to attend to cases there. As a result, they are often left unattended to.
Thank you very much. Shall we proceed to the second person?
My name is Reagan S. Levy from the Liberia News Agency. My question goes directly to Dr. Peter from the World Health Organization. I want to know, because of the present condition we face in our country, there are a lot of people arguing in our various communities. They want to know as to whether this deadly virus can be cured. That's one. And my other question goes to the health minister, because I heard talking about the buckets that are on the way coming. How soon will this bucket will be in our country for our people? How soon?
Thank you.
My name is David Freyu. I report for Clark TV Kings FM. My first question goes to the Minister for Health. I listened to you on the Bumper Show. You talk about when Atana Blama boarded the plane with 2 others, and they could not really be identified. So what efforts have you made to actually identify those people? The next question has to do with those people who came in contact with the minister. Some of them were saying, and those people also came in contact with other communities. People now, you people have not yet disclosed those names of people who currently were on quarantine. So how can we trace those others that came in contact with those people? Finally, my question goes.
Thank you. Sorry.
Well, good evening. My name is Micat, and I report for Truth FM. I appreciate the idea for $5,000 for the economy is struggling with. And my question has to do with there are reports that on Sunday, the group that arrived in the country, some from the US and other places, they were taken to a place called Seaview, and allegedly without management consent, and they got angry. Management got angry and shut down the entire hotel, leaving people without electricity and water.
Who's the question directed to, sir?
And on Tuesday, they were relocated to the Golden Key where they are now. Another report is that Brussels brought some people in last night, and that the government could not secure a place to quarantine them, so they were allowed to go home with the promise that the authorities will get to them later on and call them back. What can you say to these reports?
Who's the question directed to, sir?
What to help authorities in Liberia? Thank you.
Take just 2 more. That's it. Let's listen, please.
My question goes to the farmer. You talk about now contact tracing that you have done. You talk about those that are on high rates. Do you believe that the National Public Health Institute have the testing capacity just in case the number increase?
Yes.
My name is Maya Mukoma, reporting from Strong FM. Some healthcare workers, mostly females, have threatened to abandon their posts if the health ministry fail to equip them. What is the health ministry doing to work in line with the health workers? My second question is, several regulations have been made and to fight the coronavirus, and some new guidelines also in the traffic rules. What is the Ministry of Health plans to create awareness for drivers? Because scores of drivers believe in maximizing profit over health issues.
Thank you. We'll take the last one, and then we'll invite the speakers.
So, good evening. My name is Angel Morris, and I report for Breach Radio Africa, located in the United States of America. Well, basically, my attention has been drawn to the testing process. Well, I have most of my audience have been asking, how is this testing process done? And specifically, this question is posted to the Health Minister, Madam Wilhelmina Jala Pellenby. So I really want to know, how is this health process conducted? What is the name of the tester? And when did this tester came into Liberia? Because we all are aware that this coronavirus is very new in the world. So if there is a tester that can determine that this person is negative or positive, we need to know when was this tester brought in, or is the Ministry of Health basically just going through the signs and symptoms of this virus?
Virus is something, depends on the kind of viruses you have. Like for example, Ebola and so forth, you really don't have treatment for a virus. The body has its own immune system, and your immune system has the ability to fight a virus. So what we do is that we do supportive treatment based on symptoms. So for example, if you have fever, we give you antipyretic to drop the fever down, and so forth, while your immune system continues to fight the disease. And so, those that we have there, when they say there is no treatment, and so forth, because they are stable, there is no sign, they are stable, and because of that, the team that is there, if you wear a PPE, a PPE is basically it generates its own heat. So they go in there twice a day, wearing their PPE, completely attired and so forth. And for those who haven't seen a team being attired in the PPE, after this I can show you a snapshot on my phone so that you can see what it looks like. Yesterday I was there when the team went in to visit, and so yes indeed we are. In terms of PPE and other things, we do have PPEs in the country, we have supplies in the country, but as things escalate, we are, and the process is in place for procurement, and friendly nations are giving us money. In terms of the testing capacity in the country, yes indeed we do have the testing capacity. Now in terms of tests, we have rapid tests. So many times you may listen or see on TV people say, oh, they are doing tests, people can walk in and do a test. That is a rapid test. That is not confirmatory. What we are using is the PCR. And the PCR is the gold standard when it comes to testing. And so our results that we have, basically anywhere around the world, and our technicians we have, they are well trained. They have gone through the processes, both by CDC, by defense, the US defense, and by the WHO. So they meet all of the standards, and so whatever action we take, whatever result we give, that result is indeed true and is acceptable anywhere around the world. And I think with that, let me turn the phone over to Dr. Musuka Fala. Or the health minister. Want to be the health minister?
Okay, so the test issue, I will leave it to Dr. Fala. Some of the questions he will answer, and then WHO will answer. On the line of the buckets, the president asked each minister to buy about 100 buckets of wood. So those buckets will be distributed. If you already have a bucket Don't go hide it because you want another bucket. You want those who cannot afford a bucket to get a bucket. So we're just appealing to you. When we come in, we'll take you by surprise so that you don't know that we are coming with a bucket. But we are asking other well-off citizens in the country that can afford to buy buckets for their neighborhood to help us to provide the buckets for the neighborhood. If we do that, we will ensure that every neighborhood has a bucket to be able to continuously wash their hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Minister. The issue of the test. One of the blessings of the Chinese for this coronavirus was that once the virus started, the Chinese did something very good. They sequenced the genome of the virus. Once the genome was sequenced, scientists around the world, starting in Germany, took the gene of interest and created primers and code. So every specific disease, all of us will have signature. The signature in our gene, just like you have a fingerprint. Every disease has a fingerprint. And so they created the sequence to be able to identify coronavirus. What we had here that was a blessing after Ebola was that we have developed the capacity and the ability to test for Ebola. A very same platform we use to test for Lassa. That has been a routine procedure for us. All that are left for us is what we call the primer and the probe. Those are enzymes that go for a specific gene. Just have each of us have our fingerprint. We need to everything we need. That's how it's done. It is a 6-hour process. You extract the RNA with the cDNA and go ahead and test for it. There are 2 layers of testing. If both of the gene don't score, we don't like one of our tests we're going to repeat today. One test pass, 2 of the gene will go for. Both of them must say positive, considered positive, or they must say negative to be considered negative. And so once we got the primer and probe, based on the capacity we developed since after Ebola, one of our colleagues left and went to Senegal at the Institute Pasteur, where they brought 27 different African countries to go on a rapid refresher training, and each of them were given the kits. The number of kits we have in the country, we are very cognizant of the fact that to make or break this response is going to be depending on testing. And so we are very cognizant of the fact in the country now we can perform 500 reactions. But in line with that, we put in process for 2,000 additional reactions through delegation. We have reached out to the National Institute of Health for more as a backup system. The issue of rapid diagnostic tests. Rapid diagnostic tests, as the planner will come and tell you, is not yet, has not gone through clinical approval to be used as a standard. So if you did the rapid diagnostic test, there are many on the market, and basically you get the result, you still have to run the PCR, which is the gold standard. The issue of people with that came in contact with Mr. Brown, the 2 persons, were able to work with the Labrador Civil Aviation Authority, and through the immigration movement, we able to identify these people, got in contact with them, knew the places they work, and we got in contact with them and responded, and we followed up after them. The issue of all of the contact that Mr. Blama came with, we are working and asking questions, and all the time, like last time I had a meeting with Mr. Blama on the phone, I said, can you go back in your memory? The best you can do for me, walk me through every step from the time you left the airport. And because of those steps, he's walking us through. What did he do? Did you sit in the house? Did you sit outside? We're going through that step, and we're definitely going on to investigation. The other thing we did is that we have a rumor management team. That team is an ever-ready team that goes on. Once people give us a rumor, and I say, we think we saw him here, this person visited him. For instance, we visited EPA, there was a few persons came to him. So we follow the lead. And our goal is to ram up the contact as many persons as possible. And that's why it becomes first on the case, and second, the reality of what he says, and everyone in the community. That is why it's important for us as the media to give positive, encouraging news to our people to come and speak. We do have issues that we've done very well under given circumstances. If you imagine what it means to rent a hotel, the way the DC is, we cannot go in the hotel and rent a room, but rent an entire hotel. We continue to decrease the numbers so that we can get fewer and fewer persons coming. We have sent out advice on the airline, and many times the airline will announce if you do not come to Liberia, people are still coming. We encourage people not to travel. Have there been issues here? But most of the time we've done well, and we appreciate these challenges, so we've created some alternatives. What are these alternatives to some of the challenges we face? One, we have asked all foreign missions and embassies, if you have a place, a dwelling place, and our team can visit too, there you can establish that our necessary to monitor someone, the embassies and the missions and the NGO can have that. Asylum has come up to us, Fashion has come up to us. We are working with the German embassy, the Swedish embassy, and even the American embassy for them to do that. That reduces the pressure on the hotel. The next thing we've done now is individual. That we have our colleagues from the World Bank, husband and wife that are now at one of our hotels. If you are individual and you can have a housing and can validate that it goes through the criteria, you can go there. Because if you tell you how much money it means to run this hotel and feed them 2 times a day, you appreciate what has been done, all in an attempt to really save this country from the dire consequences of this disease. So there are issues. We work in the issue of PPE. We want to thank God to Ebola. We have thousands and thousands of PPE in our 4 logistic bases across the country. We have masks across the country. One of the first things we did in our preparedness was to go across the country and check in our warehouses how many thousands of PPE we have all around. We were able to use a military truck and move those ones near Morovia. So mature PPE and mask, another issue like Allocator said, is to round those up. We are working with the nurses. They've done very well. The first 15 days, they got paid top off, and we still now trying to make an attempt to pay additional salary because we appreciate the SSC, the long hours they are making. Most of my team members don't leave the offices until 11 p.m. at night, and we appreciate all they have done. And like I said to my friends, within the first 24 48 hours, they may be dishes, but we are trying to smooth things off as we move to maximum response. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. From the beginning, I mentioned that this is a new virus. A new virus with many elements. And one of the strategies of the response is actually to study the animals, including research as part of the response. You might have listened or might have read in some countries, in China, for example, they applied chloroquine as part of the treatment. In other countries, they applied antivirals as a treatment. But one fact is clear. This is a viral disease. And like all viral diseases, they are treated symptomatically, as the medical officers already said. I mentioned over 80% of the people get out of it without even any problem. And again, somebody who is healthy with no symptoms can also discharge the virus. So the people who die, they die because of complications to underlying health problems. That's the cause of it. They may develop serious respiratory problems that requires oxygen and so on. They may develop serious renal problems that requires dialysis. They may end up maybe with heart failure. So it is the underlying health problems that's really the cause of the death. And also at an advanced age where immunity is not strong. So per se, as a treatment you can call totally for coronavirus, there is no treatment that exists. But let me caution that while this literature and evidence happens in the first world and also in Asia, we still have unknown sub-Saharan Africa. Our biggest problem, HIV/AIDS, TB, which are common, we don't know. What is the impact of coronavirus on these people? We don't know. We hope that the best weapon is really to stop it. We should not go to experimental basis where a lot of people will succumb to complications of already health problems they have. So the answer simply there is no question. The issue of diagnosis has been well explained, and I think the other questions I've seen them proper answer. Thank you.
Before we conclude, you may have your seats. We'd like to inform you again, updates will be given from here every Mondays and Thursdays at 11:30 a.m. The bus will be ready for you at the Ministry of Information, Culture, Affairs and Tourism from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. to bus you over here. And given the severity of the pandemic, the updates will be here. And if you have further questions, on Monday we will be here at 11 a.m. in the morning. I'd like to thank you all for coming on behalf of all the officials of government. We'd like to recognize the presence of the City of Monrovia, Honorable Jefferson Koji, who walk in during the presence. We'd like to say thank you all for coming, and we'll conclude this press briefing. Thank you.